Don't get me lying, sir. I don't know, but I do know this. I'm Ambrose Killer.
Okay, say less for sure, for sure. So yeah, I appreciate that too, because it's there's a lot of brothers that they would have some story or idea that wasn't 100% certified they throw out there. So I appreciate you speaking on only what you know. So
Hey, sir, my name is Wacky D, and my name goes on this shit. I ain't gonna tell you nothing I don't know.
absolutely, for sure, for sure. So um, tell me about when you touched down on Cal, um, who were the like, we're gonna probably try to do this in every single interview,
Okay.
because at the end of the day, you were from 18th and Cal.
Yeah.
All hoods considered, we've talked about 27th, we've talked about 88th, 85th, etc. But you from 18th and Cal. Who were the names from 21st and Cal that you had to look out for?
Eh, that bitch ass nigga King Devious that we put in a wheelchair. Weddle, King Weddle. We got his motherfucking ass. See them Kings on 21st and Cal. It used to be back in the days like they kill one of us, we'll kill two of them.
For
So
sure.
that's the reason that we bring a lot of them GDs over there is because we believe that there's power in numbers. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right. I
But
mean, and
what's
they
up?
and they was originally like some of the older brothers that I've spoke to from that region, from that area. They talk about when 21st and Cal was still the Kents.
Oh yeah. So listen, back in the days, this is before my time, so I'm not really familiar with it. But I met a SD, a old white dude named Whiskey, and folks told me he was from 27th and Cal. I said, bro, that's the county. He said, not when I was around, brother. It was SDs. I said, okay, bro.
Right. Yeah. Okay. For sure. For sure.
I wasn't
Um.
gonna.
Yeah. So like.
I crazy shit, man. Like I was in the county. There was an old school SD named Muffin from 24th and Rockwell. This guy thinks he got the right to run around and tell SD brothers if they ain't got no baby devil on them, they ain't no motherfucking SD.
Right. 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 Yes. I mean, it's still brothers from a lot of mobs that'll talk like that. Like if you don't got a brand, you're not from the block.
Absolutely.
So so 2-1 in Cal exists, but everything on the other side of Cal is still Deuces, right? At this time.
Yeah, it's the colors and deuces.
So I've talked to I've gotten a lot of history about that, about the fallout, between the Deuces and the Kings. Really could be its own episode, an interview about that. I'm hoping to speak with some of the Deuces about that. But at that time, so when you came to Cal, were the Deuces folks?
Okay, no. The deuces were considered fin balls. Back then they were Cullerton deuces and they were fin balls. They were riding with the kings.
Still, okay. So, um,
They had to flip folks because the kings started putting the flux on them.
right, for sure. In a bunch of different hoods too, right? Like the projects up on the
Like,
north.
look, you got deuces from over there. Like you got one named Cheeseball. He's a deuce, but he still got teardrops on his left eye.
Right, right, right,
That ass.
right, for sure, for sure. I mean, they still too, like, because they was kind of their own thing. They wore black and gray in addition to the green. Um,
Yeah.
they got their own history, but um, Mobs when they flip, it's a few different mobs that flip from folks to Finball, Finball to folks. Um,
Absolutely.
I mean that has happened a lot, but from what I would speak to, like older homies from 18th and Cal, like Wackky D, rest in peace.
Absolutely.
And he talked about coming home from the joint, and Deuces being in his crib and shit, like kicking it with his sister or whatever, and him being like, I'm still Deuce Killer. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if y'all folks like. He was
Hey,
still pressing the issue.
hey, listen, I remember one of my homies from Cal. We ain't gonna say his nickname, but his name's Mikey. Okay,
Right.
and folks was in the county. He got SD on his arm with a spade dip, Deuce spade dipped. Right, first time in the county. Folks don't get in trouble. Mikey's in the county, and they tell him he got to cover up his tattoo, right? Because he got a Deuce Killer. Mikey tells him, I don't understand. They tell him, no, out of love. He says there ain't no love for the Deuces. I'm Deuce Killer. So he don't know. He don't understand that there's the line folks riding together. I asked Mikey, well, what happened? He said, yeah, they whooped me, made me cover it.
Oh, that's crazy. So,
Yeah,
so there was no point where, even though they flipped folks, where Cullerton Deuces was kicking it on Cal and vice versa.
hell no.
Right. So what about the Tutu boys, bro? Because I've seen flicks of old school D's in the '80s from Cal. Um, certain brothers I could make out, like I won't actually say names, but them and Tutu boys posted together.
Okay, listen, let me tell you something about the Tutu Boys. The Tutu Boys were insane, so we rocked with them hard. But I'm gonna tell you where the war happened with the Tutu Boys and the SDs. See, the Tutu Boys used to ride under lines, like maniac lines, like the 2-6 do.
Right.
They had two lines with the dots and then the two lines, okay? Where they went wrong is they started throwing this shit that was like a four, and we felt like they cracked a fork. So now we Tutu Killer.
Just like that.
Just like that. You cracking a
Yeah.
fork, fuck you.
Right, because it was. I mean, the tensions originally it was 2-4, and the Tutu boys was the first ones to go at it. Right.
Hmm. Absolutely. See, over my hood, it used to be like this. 18th and Cal, we took care of 21st and Cal, 21st in Albany, 23rd in Whipple. Well, 2-4 in Rockwell, they took care of 25th and Cal. That's who they went at it with. 20,
Boulevard.
yeah, the boulevards, yeah, shit like that. But I'm gonna tell you what, I was in the joint with this Tutu boy. He was from 22nd and Cal. His name was Little T. Okay, Little T been gone 17 years. I tried to give him a heads up because I came to like him. I said, hey, Little T, when you get out, homie, don't go back to 22nd and Cal. He said, I'm going. That's my hood. No, it ain't, bro. This was in 2015. I told him, bro, ain't no Tutu boys over there. Listen, the man didn't listen to me. He went home, went to 22nd and Cal. The D's from 2-4 and Rockwell smoked him a week and a half later.
Right. That's crazy. That's
I
crazy.
gave him a heads up, man.
Yeah.
The
That's
only place the Tutu boys are at now that are strong is 31st and Cicero.
right. 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 31st and Laramie. Right.
Yep, that's
Um.
it.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, um, let's talk about I'm not gonna try to keep you too long.
No, go ahead.
But you got a lot of history. That's what's crazy.
Yeah,
Like a big thing about Wackky D is it's a name that when you bring it up to different brothers from the same era, it doesn't matter if they 2-6, Saints, SGDs, Ambrose. They know who you are. They either did time with you, um, or just knew who you was, bro, for right or wrong, good reasons, bad reasons, right? Um,
that,
so you why does the horseshoe close? Let's talk about
oh,
that. Why does the horseshoe close, and why do you go back to 18th and Cal?
okay. So the Horseshoe wound up closed down because, okay, we lived in a trailer park, and the trailer park had security in the trailer park that would patrol there. Okay, but the thing was, it was a beautiful thing because the Horseshoe was in Justice, Illinois. The Justice Police could not come in there. It was unincorporated Cook County. So the Cook County sheriffs used to have to come all the way from Maywood. So we blast at the Kings. It takes them 45 minutes to get there. But what happened was we went at it with the managers in the trailer park because they said like this. They said, start getting these motherfucking SDs names. If they're an SD, we're evicting their trailer. We're pulling their trailer out. So they started pulling our trailers out. So we went to war with them. Like we tapped into their phone lines, we poured sugar in their gas tanks. Like we used to treat the fuck out them security guards.
Right, right, like little childhood pranks and shit.
And listen, I remember one night, one of them pulled up at the stop sign, threw a whole brick of firecrackers in the back of his Suburban. Told him, "You're dying tonight, bitch." Papa SD, yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
because there was things coming in there, so we just fucked with the security guards.
right, right. So how long, from what years is 88th and Archer like an open branch?
88th and Archer was open about. Okay, listen, I'm gonna tell you what happened with 88th and Archer. My brother, Tiny and Devious, they opened 88th and Archer. Okay, 88th and Archer got put on the map because of me. Okay, so this is what happens. I get down to the joint. I'm in the joint with one of our homies. I won't say his name, but we'll just call him BR. And he's one of the main, a big homie.
Right, right.
So the big homie tells me, "Man, where you from, shorty?" I tell him, "I'm from the Horseshoe, 88th and Archer." We called it the Horseshoe because there was one way in and one way out. If you was a king, you weren't making it out. So the big homie BR, he tells me, "Do I know my oath and my prayer?" Hell no, I don't know my oath and my prayer, right? So what happened was he made me learn that shit and spit it. Once I spit it, he said, "Now 88th and Archer is an official branch."
Yeah, that's
That's how
righteous.
we got put on the map.
Yeah, that's righteous. So it was open for how many years? Would you guess?
Us. It was about 9 years.
9 years. Damn.
Yeah.
So was you there the whole time it was open, or did you go back to Cal? I mean, it was officially a branch off Cal, regardless, right?
Yeah.
So you was there the whole 9 years, or
No. Hold on, I was getting something to drink. No, what happened was I was in and out the joint. So a lot of the folks from 88th and Archer, we started going to the penitentiary. Devious caught some bank robberies, and a lot of people started getting on drugs, on bad drugs. So a lot of everybody started getting locked up. Motherfuckers started ODing. The administration was at us and shit. So what I did was I took all the homies that was still down and was not strung out on dope. I took them and I turned them all back from Cal.
for sure?
That's
So
how you got.
so
That's how you
let's
got like
so
what?
let's talk about this. So like how let's talk about drugs, bro, because I mean, as brothers that will read your book, I've gotten to read excerpts of it so far. It's a riveting read. It's a great read. I think a lot of listeners, if you enjoying it and you still listening to this much of the interview, then you'd love to read the book because it goes deep into all of this, right? So, um, drugs do become a part of your life. Um, PCP is that's a Chicago thing, right? Like it's in other cities too, but it's still out there. Why is it like to be honest with you, like I don't understand how brothers function smoking stick, smoking that Jeffrey. Um,
Oh,
why is it was it just a big thing in I know a lot of black brothers that smoked it, but it's commonly associated with white boys and Latinos. Like a lot of Ambros were considered waterheads. A lot of SDs, had that reputation. So, how old were you the first time somebody tried to pass you a dip cigarette?
oh man, listen. The first drug I ever got high on was PCP. I was like 13 years old, and I came out the shed in the Horseshoe, and I was walking like I was on clouds.
Right, you liked it?
Hell yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
They used to
so
call it. Uh,
yeah, so I mean, that's still like it's crazy. Like I still know older brothers, that I won't name from different mobs. A lot of West Side brothers that I demo with that still smoke that shit. Like it's still common. Um, but this is crazy. So you grow up, you got a father who struggles with addiction, right?
yeah.
And in your heart, like you associate that with him, and it gave you trauma and shit like that, because you really grew up without somebody being there for you and fulfilling that role as a father. So how is it, at the same time, the disease of addiction, it being something that's kind of genetically part of your makeup, you know, um, do you feel like there just wasn't a lot of dialogue, like a lot of talk about, um, getting high, about addiction and things like that you might have like, I'm sure, you started smoking PCP. Was you doing it every day from that point? Or, was it a slow build before you started trying other drugs? And, you know, that's where I'm going to start with it.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to say like this: with PCP, the biggest gangs that had that shit was the Ambrose and the SDs. So we've always had that shit on Cal. Like at one time they used to call Cal Water World. Like we had, and the crazy thing is we used to sell it to the Ambrose, and then half hour later go through there and light them up. They'd be out there stuck. You
Yeah,
know, so
right.
we used to we used to sell a lot of that shit. But a lot of the black people they smoke what's called sherm. Hold on, not sherm. It's called they smoke a leaf. But on
Right.
Cal we water.
Okay, so y'all was dipping cigarettes, and leaf is like the shit that they still be selling on the west side, right? In like the little foil squares and shit.
Yeah,
Okay, so there's a difference between that.
absolutely.
Right, for sure, for sure. So, you know, tell me about the first time, you ever seen somebody do heroin.
Okay, so here's what happened. With me, I started smoking smoking sticks. Then I went to doing the acid. Okay, and I started snorting coke, and my addiction grew like my shoe size. Um, Heroin came around. Devious was doing it. Little Maniac was doing it, and we used to ride out to the west side. You know, from Justice, we ride out to the west side, and we would do the heroin thing. And the thing is, like Devious was my boy. He was my chief. And when I got locked up as a shorty, I went to a was it interventions. I got like a ward of the state, and I was working. I had a $3,600 check. So my own homie Devious knew I had that money. So we was gonna go get some coke. Instead, he took me to Roosevelt and Mozart. I said, "Damn, bro, when the fuck coke start coming in aluminum foil?" I started, yeah, I ordered the shit, right? I was
Yeah.
like, I was at about 17 years old, and I threw up. I said, I'll never do this shit again. I throw up like a motherfucker. But the next day I go with Devious to get some more, and then the next day I get some more. So the third day I tell him like, man, bro, I think I got the flu. He says, nah, bro, you dope sick. But like I said, as a kid, I seen the OAs doing it, doing heroin. Me myself, I started using bad in 2002. The Ambrose shot up my car on Cermak and Western, and my 2-month-old daughter Heaven was shot and killed. And I just gave up on life, man. I started smoking rocks, doing heroin, whatever would numb me and take that pain away. So at the time, I realized I used to hate my father until I became my father. And once I became my father, then I understood my father. What I mean is, I used to see my dad put his hands on women. I said I would never do that. I put my hands on women. I see my dad stick needles in his arms. I said I would never do that. I put needles in my arms. I became my father. So then I understood my father. So today I'm trying to take shit a lot more serious so my son don't repeat the cycle and become me.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean
You
that's
got to buy the
commendable.
book, you guys. So you guys got to buy the book, man. I'm giving you too much game.
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true. We're gonna save the pain for the book. Yeah, that's crazy though. So you just came home from the joint.
Oh man, I just come home on Friday. In my book, I started off. I say, man, welcome to Canary Yellow. I was currently incarcerated at Graham Correctional Center then. I just come home Friday, man.
How long was you down this time?
3 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you so you got over 3 years clean, um, and you work in a program and stuff like that. So you find yourself today like on a totally different path. Um, but back in the day when you were using, like the average brother that was high, like would you still get love in the hood, or was brothers kind of looking at you like you was a liability or a cluck or whatever, or um, was drugs more common than brothers want to admit?
Okay, look, back in the days when they first found out I was doing heroin, there's a big brother from AT the Cal. He's black. His name's Satan. Now I'm a big boy. Satan picked me up on my throat and held me against a store. There used to be a store on AT the Cal called Daniels, and told me I better not find out you're doing that shit. But the same man that made the law saying that we can't smoke PCP with our chief was the first man that broke the laws. And he changed it and said, just smoke the shit in the house. Who smokes PCP and stays in a fucking house? You know,
Oh shit, that's fucking crazy. Um, yeah,
hey,
that.
on the PCP thing, I got to give it to the breeds too. In the village, they used to have what was called silla meals. And what they would do is they would take oregano and they would roll it up in joints and they would dip it and they would seal them, vacuum seal them, and they used to call them silla meals. They were called red tags, black tags. So we used to go to the village too and get a lot of them.
Hey, yo, so this is something I wanted to touch on too. So the politics, it's a lot of different brothers that follow the page, that'll be tuning into the channel. They understand the politics of Chicago, but it's a lot of cats that they just see the folks in Finball thing. They don't realize the difference between some of the black mobs, the Latin folks, uh, the kings, the counts, all the Latin Finball brothers. So you being from 18th to Cal, that's Douglas Park. Literally, if you look at a map, if you go north and hit Roosevelt, or if you go west and cross the park, I mean, you got a lot of vice lords, right? You do got some breeds, you do got some other mobs mixed in there, but you could go up to Roosevelt to cop drugs, or for whatever reason. It's not like the vice lords was necessarily banging on y'all because y'all was folks, right?
Hell no. Listen, the black gangs, they make money. The Latino gangs, we gang bang.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, especially on the
You
west side, right? Like the west side was the money zone, the 290.
Yeah.
A lot of cats coming in from Aurora, from the burbs, just to touch down, get right off at any exit, cop a jab, a dope, go back to their home, right? So, you hitting Roosevelt, you was being. I mean, it had to be weird though too. Like you're face to face with a lot of the CVLs, and you got like the motherland for the TVLs, straight up Cal, right? So, I mean, you were hop, skip, and a jump away from Holy City, but it's not like those were enemies of yours.
No, listen, okay, so I'll give you the history on that. So back in the days, I knew them guys. Like I knew who had it for the C's. The CVLs are on Roosevelt Mozart, and that was Kenny Shank. He had that. Danny McDaniel, and them. Spanky from the Travelers, he had on Lexington in California. So I knew all of them guys. I came over there. I was open with welcome. I used to go jump on the Vice Lord's hood. My hat broke off to the right. Man, listen, they're worried about trying to sell you some drugs. They don't give a fuck if you come over and say your name's Peter Pan.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's like you're still, brothers don't be believing this, but like you go up to like Roosevelt and Cal, you're gonna see GDs and CVLs together.
Okay, listen, here's the thing too. Like they had a block over there on Richmond. Okay, you could go to Richmond one day and it'd be all Vice Lords, Travelers. Talking about on King Neal. You go the next day, it's all GDs. What they do over there is they'll rent the block. They're all about making money. So the GDs will buy the block for a day. So
Right.
you never know who the fuck you're rolling up on over there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
One time the police pulled me over, didn't find no dope on me, and told the vice lords, "We got an SD right here." The vice lords told them, "So, yeah."
Man, that's fucking crazy.
See, and the police, they used to get us too. Like there was an officer named Soto that used to be on Cal. Soto was a bitch, man. He used to pick us up on HT the Cal. Now, me, Butch, little maniac, them police knew that we was white. We didn't belong on Cal, okay? So they used to fuck with us. They'd pick us up, and they used to do what's called the mile run. They'll take us to 25th and Cal and tell them kings, we got three SDs right here in the car. Come get them. And we had to run all the way back to HT the Cal. Man, that's how I got my nose broke with a crowbar. And I told these pussy ass kings, I said, listen, next week they're gonna be dropping you off by us. But they weren't trying to hear that shit. They fucked me up.
Oh, that's crazy. So, I'm getting close to wrapping it up with you. But just some things that come to mind before I forget. Um, we're not going to talk about the Gizmo situation. We're not going to talk about Aggie. Um, there's history to all of these mobs. It's safe to say that a lot of these mobs do not have the same structure and loyalty and things in place. I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but it's just a lot of every block for themselves. But was there blocks, being from Cal, that you couldn't go to that was also SDs? Was there like certain neighborhoods that was just like they didn't like Cal that way and you couldn't be over there?
Listen, I'm a SD right now, and I'm from 18th to Cal, and I am not welcome on 35th and Wood, 42nd and Campbell.
Right, for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, there's some
They got a lot of SDs from 35th and Wood that got Cal spelled backwards on them. LAC, they say they Cal killer. I told them they ain't killing shit. They should have been a paramedic. They ain't gonna kill nothing. They ain't gonna let nothing die.
That's crazy. Yeah, we won't go into that. Like there's
Yeah,
there's there's some stories, and this is going to be reoccurring. There's just like certain things that we're not going to talk about on here. If you're not from the city and you don't know, you don't need to know.
hey, I
Um,
do about this though. For people that don't know, the Latin counts are king killer. They don't get along with the kings. So in the joint, the counts draw with the vice lords. They draw off that C. So they ride with the CVLs.
right.
They
Yeah.
don't rock with the kings. Neither
Yeah.
do the same.
Yeah. I've heard too. Like historically, the Kings and the Stones. The BPS, the Moes are first cousins, and then the CVLs and the Counts are first cousins. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So, and I have heard, I heard a story about that. That again, I won't share on here. I'm gonna leave it to, if we ever speak to some counts, I'm gonna leave it to them to tell that story because I don't personally think that the story uh, shows them in a good light. You feel me?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be on them. You feel what I'm saying? I got a lot of respect for all the different mobs across the city. So I'm hoping
Absolutely.
continues to be a platform for people to tell the real history and not think that they getting lied on or smut being put on their names.
Okay. Now look, I want to talk about this too. The difference between back in the days. Okay. So you're in Cook County Jail. Okay. So some of them places, man, that have dorms of 500 people. There has to be some type of structure. Okay. So the first thing I've had plenty of spots for the Latin folks. I've had divisions, and the first thing I'm trying to do when I get that spot is now you got to realize if I got 57 Latin folks over there, I hold 57 people's lives in my hand. So I'm the man that decides who's getting stabbed up, if we're going to squash this shit. Okay, so I got the first thing I would do when I got a slot was I go find out who got it for the Kings, who got it for the Vice Lords, who got it for the GDs, who got it for the BDs, because we got to be able to talk. And we could talk this shit out as men and squash it, cool. Because at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to go home to their family, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
For sure, for sure. Hey, this too, like this is the other side of your world or whatever. But